Steven Tyler's life has been a rock and roll roller coaster. But what about his kids? One daughter grew up not even knowing he was her dad. Another became a model defying industry norms, and the younger two lived mostly out of the spotlight. Each of the Aerosmith frontman's 4 children took very different paths in life, with twists and turns you might not expect. From Hollywood stardom to quiet family life, whatever happened to Steven Tyler's children will surprise you and warm your heart. Number 4. Liv Tyler. Born in 1977 is Steven's eldest daughter and arguably the most famous. Surprisingly, Liv spent her early childhood without knowing that Steven Tyler was her father. Her mother, model Bebe Buell, had a brief relationship with Steven in the 1970s, but initially claimed another man, rock musician Todd Rundgren, was Liv's dad. So young Liv grew up with Todd's last name and believed Todd was her father. All that changed when Liv was about 8 years old and attended an Aerosmith concert with her mom. There, Liv saw Steven's other daughter, Mia Tyler, standing by the stage, a girl who looked uncannily like Liv herself. As Liv later explained, "I saw Mia, and literally it was like looking at my twin. Then I looked at my mom, and she had tears in her eyes, and that's when Liv figured out the truth. It was a life-changing revelation. The man with the scarf-draped microphone was her real dad." Despite the shock, Liv adapted quickly. She soon formed a relationship with Steven while keeping Todd Rundgren in her life as well. In fact, Liv considers both men her fathers and is grateful to Todd for raising her with love. As she put it, Todd is her dad, as much as Steven is, appreciating that he chose to be a stable father figure, even knowing she might not be biologically his. Steven Tyler, for his part, embraced his role in Liv's life once he learned she was his. The two became extremely close-knit over time. Steven even had Liv star in Aerosmith's music videos for Cryin' and Crazy in the early 90s, introducing her to the world as his daughter and helping launch her career. Liv went on to build an impressive career in her own right. In the late 1990s, she broke into Hollywood with films like Empire Records and Stealing Beauty. Her big moment came with blockbusters. She starred in the planet-saving thriller Armageddon, 1998, which, fittingly, featured Aerosmith's hit theme song I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, and later portrayed the elf maiden Arwen in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Liv became known for her poise and ethereal charm on screen, far removed from the gritty rock world her father inhabited. She also appeared in The Incredible Hulk, 2008, and many other films. By her mid-20s, Liv Tyler was a bona fide Hollywood star, admired not just as a rock star's kid, but as a talented actress and model. In her personal life, Liv has kept things relatively down to earth. She married British musician Royston Langdon in 2003 and had a son, Milo, in 2004. Though the marriage ended amicably in 2009, Liv found love again with sports agent David Gardner. The couple got engaged in 2015 and welcomed 2 children, Sailor in 2015 and Lula in 2016. Liv has often shared that Steven Tyler is an involved, doting grandfather to her kids. In fact, Steven was literally by her side for Sailor's birth. He flew in and arrived just in time to cut the umbilical cord when Liv went into labor early. It's a heartwarming image. The rock icon who once missed family moments on tour, now right there in the delivery room. Tears in his eyes, welcoming a new grandson. Now, in her mid-40s, Liv Tyler is thriving as a mother and gearing up for a return to acting. After taking a few years off to focus on raising her children, she's making a comeback on the big screen. Liv is reprising her role as scientist Betty Ross in Marvel's upcoming Captain America. Brave New World, marking her first film appearance since 2019. She said she's very, very excited and very touched to be asked to return to the Marvel Universe after such a long break. Number 3, Mia Tyler, Mia Abigail. Tyler, born in 1978, is Stephen's second daughter, born just over a year after Liv. Her mother was Serinda Fox, a bold former Warhol model whom Stephen married in the late 70s. As a child, Mia lived a very different life from her older half-sister. She was raised primarily by her mom, Serinda, after her parents' tumultuous marriage ended in divorce in 1987. In 1990, young Mia relocated with her mother from New Hampshire to the bustle of New York City. Life wasn't always easy. Tragically, her mother Serinda died from a brain tumor in 2002, when Mia was in her early 20s. Enduring the loss of her mom at a young age was a heavy blow, but Mia's story is one of resilience and self-discovery. Growing up amid rock and roll chaos, Mia learned to forge her own identity outside her father's long shadow. In her late teens and early 20s, she made a name for herself as a plus-size model, challenging beauty norms in the fashion industry. With her edgy style and confident attitude, Mia landed spreads in elite magazines like Vogue, Seventeen, and Teen People, proudly representing curvy women. She walked runways in New York and Paris, and even appeared on MTV as a VJ at 17, proving she inherited some of that Tyler flair for performing. Stephen was supportive of her career. He even wrote a song titled Mia for her when she was a baby, released on Aerosmith's 1979 album, Night in the Ruts, a touching early sign of fatherly love. By her mid-20s, Mia had expanded her creative pursuits. In 2009, she launched her own clothing line called Revolution 1228, aiming to offer fashionable options for plus-size women. The line later folded, but it showed Mia's entrepreneurial spirit. She also dabbled in acting with small roles in films like Rush Hour 3, 2007, and an indie film, A Little Bit of Lipstick. Reality TV fans might have spotted her too. She popped up alongside her dad on an episode of Hell's Kitchen and appeared on VH1's Celebrity Fit Club in 2005, candidly documenting her efforts to live a healthier lifestyle. Through all these endeavors, Mia demonstrated a frank and fearless personality. In fact, she published a memoir in 2008 titled Creating Myself, where she opened up about growing up in a rock and roll family and learning to love herself. The memoir delved into personal struggles and triumphs, from battling body image issues to overcoming family drama, resonating with many readers who admired her honesty. On the personal front, Mia's life had its own twists. In 2002, at age 23, she married Dave Buckner, the drummer of rock band Papa Roach. The pair eventually grew apart. They divorced in 2005, as Mia continued to evolve. A few years later, she became engaged to guitarist Brian Hara in 2007, but that engagement was called off the next year. It wasn't until almost a decade later that Mia found what she calls her greatest joy, motherhood. In May 2017, she welcomed her first child, a baby boy named Axton Joseph. "I wished for him my whole life," Mia wrote of her son, reflecting how becoming a mom fulfilled her in a profound way. These days, Mia is in her mid-40s and has embraced a quieter life, largely out of the spotlight. She focuses on raising Axton, whom she often gushes about on social media, and continues to express herself through art and advocacy. Importantly, Mia remains close with her family. She and Liv are not only sisters, but good friends. Remember, it was seeing Mia as a little girl that led Liv to discover Stephen was her dad. Mia also has a loving relationship with Papa Stevie. On Stephen's 70th birthday, Mia publicly wrote to him, "You're my favorite man to laugh with, and most of all, just love," thanking him for being an amazing father. Despite the rock and roll mayhem of her early years, Mia Tyler has emerged grounded and content. She's her own woman, an artist, a proud mom, and a survivor who took the best of her upbringing and left the rest in the dust. Number 2. Chelsea Tyler. Chelsea Anna. Tyler, born in 1989, is Steven Tyler's third daughter, and the first of two children he had with clothing designer Teresa Barrick. Chelsea was born into what seemed a more settled period of Steven's life, the late 80s, when Aerosmith had sobered up, and her parents were married and living a quieter family life, at least by rock star standards. She grew up mostly out of tabloid headlines, shielded from the wildest extremes of the rock world. Steven and Teresa tried to give Chelsea and her younger brother Taj a relatively normal upbringing in Boston. Still, music was in Chelsea's DNA, and she didn't ignore it for long. Even as a youngster, Chelsea showed a musical spark. There are anecdotes of her singing around the house, and even joining her famous dad on stage for impromptu duets when she was a teen. Imagine being 18 and harmonizing with Steven Tyler in front of a crowd. Talk about courage. Those moments of sharing the microphone with her father must have been magical, and they clearly left an impression. Chelsea decided to follow in her dad's musical footsteps, but on her own path. Rather than fronting a rock band or chasing pop stardom, she gravitated toward a unique niche, electronic soul music. In 2011, in her early 20s, Chelsea formed a duo called Kane Hodder with an unlikely partner, actor Jon Foster, who would soon also become her life partner. The two met through a mutual friend, actress Zoe Kravitz, herself rock royalty as Lenny Kravitz's daughter, and bonded over their love of music. They started writing songs together, blending Chelsea's velvety vocals with Jon's production skills, creating a stylish mix of retro soul and modern electronica. Kane Hodder gained an underground following. The duo performed in clubs from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, releasing EPs and making people dance with tracks that have a funky, mellow groove. For Chelsea, this indie music project was more than just a career. It was a labor of love in every sense. In fact, she and Jon were falling in love as they made music. Of working with Chelsea, Jon once told people, "It's been a really incredible experience to be able to do that with somebody that you love so much." Their chemistry on stage was matched by real commitment off stage. The couple married in June 2015 in a low-key ceremony surrounded by family and friends. Steven Tyler, proud as ever, was there to walk his daughter down the aisle and probably rock the dance floor at the reception. Today, Chelsea is in her mid-30s, and she continues to wear many hats: singer, songwriter, wife, and now mother. She and Jon welcomed a son, Vincent, in early 2020, making Steven a grandfather yet again. Becoming a mom gave Chelsea a new rhythm in life. These days, she balances music sessions with playdates. Kane Hodder's public activity has slowed as she focuses on family, but Chelsea hasn't lost her creative spark. She still writes and records from home, sometimes sharing snippets online with fans. Every so often, she'll join her dad on stage for a special duet, reminding everyone that her vocal chops are legit, and the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Number 1. Taj Tallarico. Taj Monroe Tallarico, born in 1991, is Steven Tyler's youngest child and his only son. While his 3 older sisters have dabbled in acting, modeling, and music, Taj chose a very different route, a life mostly behind the scenes. Born to Steven and Teresa Barrick 2 years after Chelsea, Taj, who carries Steven's legal surname Tallarico, had a relatively normal childhood given the circumstances. He was just a toddler when Aerosmith experienced a huge 90s resurgence, so by the time he was aware of Dad's fame, the family was a bit more settled. After Steven and Teresa divorced in 2006, Taj and Chelsea split time with their parents, but they kept a low profile overall. From a young age, Taj appeared to shy away from the spotlight that naturally followed his father. He did get a small taste of showbiz as a kid. In fact, he had a cameo role on a Disney Channel sitcom, Lizzie McGuire, in 2001. In that episode, Steven Tyler guest starred as himself, performing in a Santa Claus suit no less, and Taj and Chelsea were both briefly on screen as audience members, credited simply as bystander number 1 and bystander number 2. It was a cute family in-joke and probably a thrill for a 10-year-old Taj, but unlike some celebrity kids who catch the acting bug, Taj didn't pursue child stardom any further. That one TV appearance was enough. He seemed to realize early on that a performer's life wasn't for him. Instead, Taj found his interests off-camera. He's a music producer and songwriter, working quietly in the music industry out of the public eye. While he inherited musical talent from his dad, Taj prefers the creative process in the studio rather than the stage lights. In fact, if you weren't a devoted Aerosmith fan, you might not have even known Steven Tyler has a son, and Taj is perfectly okay with that. He deliberately keeps a low profile, his social media is private, and he rarely grants interviews. According to one report, Taj has collaborated on some successful projects with high-profile artists, but he does so without using the Tyler name as a shortcut. Notably, he continues to go by Taj Tallarico, embracing the family's real surname and eschewing any extra attention that Tyler might bring. Friends and family describe him as down-to-earth, hard-working, and happiest when he's living a normal life away from the limelight. In 2018, Taj hit a personal milestone that had nothing to do with showbiz. He got married. He wed his longtime love, Brittany Reardon, in a private ceremony with close family and friends. Brittany is a Boston-area native and business school grad, and together they've built a pretty regular life. Steven Tyler, who often jokes about being a protective dad, proudly walked his only son down the aisle that day. Family photos from the wedding showed Steven with all 4 of his kids together, a rare and heartwarming sight. Taj's sisters absolutely adore him. Being the baby brother among 3 sisters likely kept him humble and respectful. And while Taj isn't posting selfies with Dad on Instagram, Steven occasionally shares a snapshot with Taj when they're together, whether it's fishing in Maui or just a holiday gathering. Those glimpses show a father and son who, despite one having a megawatt public persona, share a genuine private bond.